So I recently made a New Zealand Pilsner, which is a style I'm not really familiar with producing. And I was really impressed with the results. In fact, here's some of the feedback I received on that beer.
Lovely.
Yeah?
Yeah, really excellent. Yeah, it's one of the better versions. And you said
So while I'm not claiming to be an expert, it seemed to turn out okay. So let's walk through how I made this beer. So we're going to begin with 5 kilos of floor malted Bohemian base malt. I'm hoping this will bring a bit of unique character to the finished beer that we might not otherwise get from a more standard mass-produced Pilsner malt. Then to that, I'm going to add 200 grams of toffee malt to give us a bit of sweetness to the finished beer. Notice the kernels on the toffee malt have this more yellow caramelly color to them. Then we're going to add another 200 grams of dexter malt, which will add more dextrins to the beer, hopefully give us a fuller mouthfeel and maybe the perception of a bit more maltiness and help with head retention. So I thought I might take a little bit of time to talk about why I selected these hops. Now, a lot of New Zealand Pilsners feature Motueka, which is kind of like New Zealand Saaz. It's a Saaz hop grown in New Zealand, and of course it takes on all these tropical fruity characteristics as well as some of those characteristics you might expect of Saaz. Well, I haven't gone that way. One of the reasons is because I'm not necessarily trying to make a traditional New Zealand Pilsner here, but what I did want to use was a hop that I've got and I've used quite regularly called Pacific Jade. So this hop is known for a citrusy lemon sort of flavor and aroma as well as black pepper. And those two hop characteristics do come out in the finished beer. The other two hops, Rawaka and Nelson Sauvin, are also interesting choices for me. And one of the reasons I chose Rawaka was because of this interview I did with Steve from Hoppy Days. So I'll let him explain to you about this hop.
Now we're going on to probably one of the most unique hops in the world. It packs a massive punch for a low alpha hop. So we're talking 4 to 5%. Rawaka from New Zealand. They all have Kiwi names. Have a go at that, Simon. Have you used it much before?
Yeah.
So the hop fields in New Zealand are based around Nelson. So right next door to Marlborough, where your Sauvignon Blanc comes from. So leaders in new age white wines, some of that comes through in these hops. So something like Nelson Sauvignon is based off Sauvignon Blanc.
So I might just jump in and talk a little bit about Nelson Sauvin before we go on to hear about Rawaka. So as Steve said, Nelson Sauvin is named after the wine grape, the French wine grape, which the Marlborough region in New Zealand is famous for producing those type of wines. Interestingly, they produce this crisp tropical version that's high in passion fruit and those sort of tropical notes in New Zealand. Interestingly, recently I tried a French version and it's completely different. It's not as crisp, it's not as dry, and it tended towards more of a pear flavor. So the soil matters, and that's what we notice when we grow these hops. We notice we plant SARS in the soil in New Zealand, we get something fruity and tropical. Pretty much anything that comes out of New Zealand is fruity and tropical. And Nelson Sauvin is no exception. It's long been recognised by craft brewers as an extremely aromatic hop that brings a lot to the table. So for me, it was an obvious choice to add to my New Zealand Pilsner. So what can we expect out of it? Ripe, tropical fruit aromas and flavors. But the distinctive characteristic of Nelson Sauvin is this white wine grape gooseberry type character. So we'll expect to see a bit of that come through in the finished beer. All right, I'll hand back to Steve to talk about Riwaka.
Riwaka also has those big passion fruit notes. But where this we go heavily fueled. In an IPA, this is punchy, very punchy. It's actually a really low yielding hop, so it's expensive. It's probably the lowest yielding hop in the world.
Okay.
Thus the cost you have to pay for it. But for the amount you add, it packs a punch.
And it's probably high demand too, which doesn't help.
It is. So originally I understood that someone like Sierra Nevada in the US used to take 60% of the crop.
Yeah, right.
For one of their barley wines, for instance.
Probably because they were early adopters. You know, they might have got onto it earlier before everyone else, and then
That's right.
yeah, got their share early on. Yeah.
So in New Zealand, you'll get a different style called New Zealand Pilsner, and this hop would go really good in that as a late addition or a dry hop.
All right, so for our hop schedule, we're going to add 20 grams of Pacific Jade at the 30-minute mark to give us the bittering while still retaining some of that hop character. But most of the heavy lifting is going to be done in the whirlpool or the hop stand. We're going to add 30 grams of each, Pacific Jade, Riwaka, and Nelson. You'll notice also we're using an 80-degree whirlpool or hop stand temperature. And the reason for that is I learned in an earlier episode of Hendo's videos that when we use that in higher degrees of 95 degrees in your hop stand, we're driving off a lot of those volatile flavors. Those are the things like the gooseberry, the stone fruit, the passion fruit that we're trying to retain in this beer. So for that reason, I'm going to use an 80-degree hop stand to try and retain a lot more of those tropical fruit characters. Then for our dry hop, again, we're going to add another 30 grams of each hop. Pacific Jade, Riwaka, and Nelson. And I'm hoping that we're going to retain a lot more of those fruity, tropical aroma and flavors in our dry hop. Now, New Zealand Pilsner is not always a dry hopped beer, but I think more modern examples are leaning in that direction. And the sort of beer I want is plenty of punch. I want as much of that tropical punch, and I don't even mind getting a bit of that piney, dry hop character as well. So for that reason, I've decided to go with that 90-gram dry hop, which should be enough to give us plenty of those flavors, but not so much that it's really giving you that IPA kick in the teeth. And for my yeast, I'm going to use Nova Lager, a hybrid lager strain designed for low sulfide production, low diacetyl, and it can be brewed at higher temperatures without throwing off lots of esters. Sounds perfect. And there she is, New Zealand Pils. Now obviously it's a bit cloudy. It needs a lot more lagering and conditioning yet, but if I hold the light up there, you can see that color. It's a beautiful yellow, deep yellow color. So I'm pretty happy with that. With another month's lagering, it'll look on point, and maybe a bit more carbonation will come through in the keg by the time we get there. So let's talk about the beer. I'll start with the aroma. Wow, so it's tropical heavy. It's peach, sort of stone fruit, gooseberry, and lemon is what I'm getting on the nose. And there's some bready, biscuity sort of malt complexity underneath supporting all that. But definitely the tropical fruits are the star of the show. All right, let's dive in and have a taste. All right, so again, in the flavor, the tropical fruits and citrus are the star of the show, but they're supported by a good, solid malt backbone. That floor malted Pilsner has added a good malty sweetness, complexity. There's hints of maybe hints of biscuit and cracker and toast in it. Overall, I'm very happy with the base that's provided, because the malt provides that base for the hops to just bounce off. So as I mentioned, there's this strong lemon citrus undertone, and off that, the tropical stone fruit hops really pop. There's pine in there as well. So mainly lemon, citrus, pine, and then from there we get the stone fruit. We get things like nectarine, maybe some passion fruit, but that gooseberry character's there as well. And then on the finish, it's a soft finish. There's bitterness there, but it's a soft bitterness. I don't think I mentioned the water profile I chose for this was the New Zealand water profile in Brewfather. So if you want to use that, I guess I recommend it. What I find with New Zealand Pilsner, or what is recommended, is a high chloride to sulfite ratio. High chloride to sulfate ratio is what I should have said. So you want more chloride to give you a softer mouthfeel, a bit like you would in a hazy IPA, but probably not as heavy on the minerals. I found the Brewfather profile pretty good, and it hit the mark. So I'll just be doing that again next time I make this beer. And I will make it again. I'm really happy with it. The last New Zealand Pilsner I made had a heavy bell pepper character. In fact, that was dominant, and it really ruined the whole beer. And I think that was just a hop characteristic of the hops I happened to get into that beer. Again, that had Pacific Jade and Nelson in it as well. But for some reason, that crop or the timing of the hops, that was dominant, and it really ruined the beer. But this one I'm pretty happy with, and I'm going to give it another go pretty soon, I think. Overall, I'm pretty happy. So if you want to give it a go, like I mentioned, I'm not an expert on New Zealand Pilsners, but this one hit the mark, so I'm going to give it another go. And if you're into hoppy beers, why not check out this video, which features an American Pale Ale and how I went about brewing my best recipe.